if it's hurting you, then you need to be your top priority. And it doesn't matter. This is your life. Your health and your mental health comes first, and ultimately that's it at the end of the day.
More than just a show. This is a space for those who refuse to settle and step into their full potential. Here, we have conversation about confidence, perseverance, and lessons that shape us, both on and off the field. Hi, I'm Cally McSweeney, a senior and now former Assumption University field hockey player. Over the past few years, I have experienced both the incredible highs and lows that come with competing at a high level. I've had moments of victory and celebration, but also faced challenges that tested not only my physical skill, but my mental strengths as well. There's discipline, the doubts, and the setbacks. And through it all, I've learned that growth isn't about skill, it's about mindset. That's why I created the Game Plan for Growth, a 3-episode podcast series for my senior capstone project at Assumption University. I will sit down with highly accoladed female athletes and coach to unpack the lessons behind what shaped them. Success isn't about habits. It's about the mindset and resilience we build along the way. Welcome to the Game Plan for Growth. Let's get to work.
The Assumption Greyhounds are your Northeast 10 Conference champions again for the first time since 2021.
Last week, we had Assumption University's starting goalie, Paige Gillette, on. She shared her insights on staying consistent and taking action, even when life comes hectic. She explored the power of momentum, showing how even small steps can lead to meaningful growth. Paige offered us some simple mindful techniques to start the day setting intentions of clarity and focus. If you have ever struggled with overthinking or staying on track, head back to the first episode, which is full of practical tools to help you move forward with confidence. Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Game Plan for Growth, where we talk about personal growth, leadership, and all in between. I'm Cally, your podcast host, and today we have powerhouse defenseman of Assumption University field hockey. Jillian McSorley, now captain of the reigning NE10 champs, will dive into the power of an unapologetic attitude and what it means to let go of the strangling need for external validations. Jill, here, will share how pivotal it was when she stopped caring about others' opinions and how it transformed her life and the impact this mindset has on her overall health, wellness, and happiness. Jill also will break down the art behind setting boundaries without feeling guilty. If you have ever struggled with seeking external validation or approval, fearing judgment, this conversation will inspire you to own in on your conversation and live life on your own terms. Jill, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Cally. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
This is so exciting. The reason why I had you on here for this specific topic is you display someone who is self-reliant, grounded, and authentic. And I've been reflecting on something recently that I think a lot of athletes and even people in general can relate to, the desire for external validation. For so long, I found myself seeking approval through performance, whether it was on or off the field. It felt like everything I did was measured by how others perceived it. I was obsessed with measuring my worth as athletic performance. And then at some point, like a turning point, I realized that my worth was tied to something much deeper than the approval from others. It was a complete game changer. I'm sure many of us have experienced that moment when you break through that barrier and it feels like a significant shift. And yet, even though it's so freeing, it's not always easy to let go of that need for external validation. So, Jill, directing it towards you, this is my question. Why is it that so many of us, especially athletes, struggle with the need for external validation?
I think that's a really interesting question. I mean, it definitely starts from a young age. We get grades in school, we get playing time, and we get making certain teams and making certain accolades, and all of this is based off the judgment of other people. Your coaches, your teachers, your parents, everything. We're all taught that we have to compete at a certain level to reach a certain standard. And I mean, honestly, it's sort of tough when you're a kid to realize that you're competing against your friends.
So do you think that seeking external validations is a sign of weakness?
I mean, I think in some cases it definitely can be. If your whole essence of being is simply getting validation from other people, that is definitely a weakness. You need to be able to have confidence in yourself, confidence in who you are and your character if you're going to be happy in life. If all you ever do is seek external validation, you may not get that, and it might be a really hard time for you. So I think definitely if all you care about is that validation, you're not going to live a very happy and successful life.
And I think what comes with this realization is that total mindset shift. And for some people, it comes sooner than later. It literally just depends what happens to them, how they're raised, all this. But mindset shifts can seriously change the direction of your life. So when you've had this kind of mindset shift, how did this affect your mindset then in daily life then? When you first kind of realized, okay, I don't need anyone else.
I think for me, this happened in high school. I mean, high school is the time where people start to dress a little nicer. They start to do their hair, especially for girls. A lot of people are starting to wear makeup and present themselves as a certain person over social media. And I was always the one to be comfy in sweatpants and a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
So I think I struggled at first with this shift because my friends would come to school obviously looking really nice. And I get that, and that's totally okay. For some reason, I'm always comfier in certain clothes. And I think that was one of the biggest times for me where I realized that the clothes that I'm wearing do not justify my character. And nobody is going to tell me the person that I am based on if I'm wearing jeans or sweatpants.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thing with females, too, is that, like, they can be in an environment where that actually becomes a toxic thing. And girls compete with each other on that standpoint because some people are chronically online, especially these days in our age. People are chronically online getting influenced so easy.
100%.
It's almost like stripping that originality from their lives because they saw something on TikTok.
Yeah. And then I think for sports, for me, it really was freshman year of college. I mean, when you play a collegiate sport, your coach is not required to tell you every day if you're doing good. She's not required to give you validation every day. You either play or you don't, and that essentially is your validation. And I think when I came in as a freshman and I wanted to play, I just had to trust in the fact that I thought I was doing good, and regardless of what my coach was looking at, you have to assure yourself that you're doing everything in your power, regardless of how talented I was at that time, and you just have to trust in your abilities. And I think freshman year was when I really started to come out of my shell in terms of sports, and I realized that I'm not always going to receive that validation.
You are constantly comparing yourself to the girls that are getting the praise or someone that's doing this. Like, you're constantly comparing, and as soon as you let go of that comparison for external validations, then you're set and you're almost like a level up, and you see that in your play if we're talking sports wise.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at some girls, and if they don't get the okay from coach, they're not playing good that day. Whereas other girls, it doesn't matter what the coach says to them within a week, their level of play never shifts. And you can tell that they have the mental strength and capability to do what they need to do without someone reassuring you that you're able.
Yeah, I think that confidence is really powerful, and it can take you far. And I think detaching yourself from the need for others' opinions will benefit your confidence and sense of self-worth. I think as soon as you figure that out, it's a game changer. But in this environment that we spend our daily lives in, it's filtered with the people who crave validation, and it can consume you, where they can't even make any decisions for themselves. And that bothers me because that means they aren't living their life. They are having other people tell them how to live their life. And this makes someone more socially anxious because they're constantly looking at other people. And it's just, we live in a world that fears judgment and fuels insecurities. So with someone like you, why do you think you are capable of that detachment from yourself, from others people's opinions, meanwhile others struggle with it so immensely?
I mean, no matter what, no matter where you are, what you're doing, or who you're with, you are going to face other people's opinions. You will never escape judgment. You're never going to escape negativity from people. Someone is always going to have something to say. I think it's just up to you to realize that it doesn't matter. I don't care what other people think about me. I don't live my life to please them. I don't live my life to entertain them.
Because then it wouldn't be your life.
Yeah, you get one life, and if you don't want to live it how you choose and you want to live it through the eyes of others, that's not going to be a happy life. I mean, if people don't agree with what I'm doing, then they don't have to do it. But if I want to do it, then I will. And I think it's important to live life the way you want, because pretending to enjoy things that you don't is never going to get you anywhere, and you will never be successful.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so much power in literally just not caring.
Yeah, for sure.
When we look at strengthening self-worth, reducing anxiety, and having healthy relationships, and ultimately protecting your energy, I think this is where setting boundaries come into play. And setting boundaries is definitely crucial to protecting the mental and emotional well-being you have built up so strongly. But I feel like people realize this too late, or some people don't realize this at all. Boundaries. So why do you think so many people struggle with setting boundaries?
I think it's a matter of self-insecurity and the desire to fit in. I mean, so many times nowadays, you see people being friends with the wrong people and individuals getting involved with the wrong group. And it's a matter of wanting to fit in, wanting to feel needed, and just being surrounded by a lot of people. Nobody really understands, like, the significance of just having one person who really understands you and loves you for you, rather than having an army of people that you really don't relate to.
That's what they say. The smaller the circle, the better.
Yeah.
And when your circle is great, then you are great.
Yeah.
My favorite term is energy management. It's like how setting boundaries helps you protect your energy and allows you to focus on actually what matters most to you. And I have this thing on my phone, the wallpaper, and it's like, be addicted to your passions, not your distractions. So like, be with people that are passionate too and that lift you up. And, you know, maybe you need to set boundaries. I do think boundaries are intimidating for some people. I think people don't know how to set boundaries because they've been always a people pleaser. So I do understand that, but that also comes with like having that reflection and being like, no, this is my life. I'm going to say no to something that I don't want to do or take part in.
Yeah, I mean, even when you're at the same school as people, I think people think that they have to be friends with these people because they're around them every day. But the truth is, you don't have to be around them every day. If you're around someone who sucks the energy out of you, doesn't share the same values or morals or energy, then they're taking away from you.
There's no law that says you need to be friends with them.
No,
and
absolutely
we're so
not.
young that we don't, if we want to protect our energy, then we should protect it. I do strongly believe in that. And I think once you've built up your self-confidence, you should protect it.
Yeah, you have to set boundaries. Setting boundaries is the only way you're going to keep your energy up when someone else is trying to bring it down. That's the only way to separate yourself.
And that path to your goals will kind of be wonky if you're constantly surrounded by people that do bring you down and do suck that out of you. And so I think like that's on you, and this is your life, and own it. And boundaries can help create that space between yourself and situations and people that do deplete your energy. And in university, people always find themselves in places with negative people, toxic environments, and in our case, overwhelming field hockey games. But they all come with like different levels of boundaries. So how did you personally learn to establish and enforce boundaries in areas of your life?
I personally learned this the hard way. I had someone come into my life that I really enjoyed, and then the more I got to know that person, it honestly took a turn for the worse. And I think I had to set boundaries because I was in a place where I was anxious to be around this person. This person brought my energy down. So I had to remove myself from her environment And the second that I started putting space between us, I noticed a dramatic shift in my energy.
Yeah, I mean, that's also life. Like, not everyone is going to be meant for you. And I do think God puts people in your life so you can figure that out.
Yeah, it's a learning experience.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give someone afraid to disappoint others by setting boundaries, who might be in this case with surrounded by people that are draining them, but are just in a cycle because they're afraid to disappoint others?
I think that you just have to look to the future. I mean, if you're in college and you're surrounded by this, in 4 years, it's probably not going to matter anyways. So why waste these 4 years of your life stuck in a situation you truly don't want to be in, when in the future, when you build a life and you build a family, you don't want them to be a part of it? So stop it early when it's easier, and then you need to grow into a life that's meant for you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand this until late, and I feel like we all go through it in high school, that you're surrounded by people that are draining you, but you aren't really sure what's meant for you yet, and you're struggling, you don't know how to set those boundaries. But I think there becomes a crucial time and a place where you need to start saying no and separate yourself from these people because they are not in line with your life.
Yeah, and if one of the biggest things that I see is people don't want to remove themselves from a negative environment because they're afraid of hurting someone's feelings. But in this case scenario, if it's hurting you, then you need to be your top priority, and it doesn't matter. This is your life. Your health and your mental health comes first, and ultimately that's it at the end of the day.
Well, if we turn this over to a field hockey standpoint, because there actually is a lot of flowing over into being a student athlete and just social aspects of life, but have you learned anything from balance the student athlete commitments with personal needs? Because that's also setting boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, balancing being a student athlete with academics and personal life is extremely tough. Anybody who does it will tell you it's very tough.
Yeah.
But I think one of the most important things that we realize in doing it is what things in life are the most important to us. So for me, that's taking naps, eating what I want to eat, seeing the people that I really care about, spending time with family and friends. I mean, you really get to know the things that you love most because you have minimal time. So when you have time, you need to do the things that really make you happy. So in setting these boundaries, it comes to a point where you can't put that 30 minutes of time you have between class and your sport into this negative energy. I'm going to put it into someone who I really miss or I really want to see. So you have to set those boundaries in order to, love going to practice because you just got to do something you love.
I think it is really cool how, and Paige and I said this last time, Assumption Feel Like He loves going to practice.
Oh, yeah.
Loves going to feel like you practice. So, but I also do think that you do make so many sacrifices, and in sacrifice, it actually makes you more grateful. So you're grateful for these special relationships, and it makes you want to align your life with good people around you and cut off those people that aren't in it for you in the long run. Willingness to learn, humility, self-awareness, accountability, motivation, adaptability, and resilience are all qualities you ride by. Where I'm getting at this reflects someone who's highly coachable. And I think your involvement, Jill, in field hockey and as a person, you display that. You want to get better, you love getting better, and you are most importantly aware that you can get better. And I'm sure your handle on criticism has evolved over time, over these past 3 seasons as you were a junior, now going to be a senior. What do you think your evolution looked like in handling feedback and criticism?
I mean, I struggled at first. We would all be lying if we said that there hasn't been a time in our lives where we've handled criticism poorly, because we have. Everyone absolutely has. Freshman year, I was just trying to put myself out there and trying to get a spot. So I don't think it was necessarily an issue that year. I was taking anything I could get. Any acknowledgement from coach that was her putting effort into my play, I would absolutely accept. But I think sophomore year was tough for me because I ended up playing and I saw a worth and value in myself. And then coach was seeing some things in me that she wanted to change and wanted to make better. But I think I was immature at the time, and I was taking that as, you know, she doesn't think I'm good or this or that. But now I look at it, and it truly is a matter of your coach putting effort into you because she wants to. Because there are people out there that won't put any effort into you at all if they don't see worth in you. So I think you have to take that and just recognize that they care about you. And you have to accept criticism because it's coming at you from all angles. When you get a job one day, you're going to get criticized. You might even get fired. So you have to get used to it in these small doses in order to face the real world one day.
Yeah, it really is, all in all, it's how you bounce back from this stuff. And I feel like you had a great season this past season. I mean, your final games were like everything paid off. And you truly showed. And I think we'll give credit to our coach. And because good coaches see potential.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
she saw all of our potential. And they're all different. They're all very specific. And she knew that maybe sophomore year for most people is more of like all right, like, let's figure it out and grind and let's be the best you can be for your upperclassmen years. And it's hard for everyone. It's definitely like a realization year and a kind of just like grind. And no one sees your grind. They'll only see the outcome. But in our team's cases, we've had these, season-long build-ups. But it's really just trusting the patients and trusting your coach and trusting the people around you that your time will come. I said this with Paige last time, like, your time will come, and her time came and it's still coming, and yours is too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, you have to trust in the fact that you're doing everything you can to improve, and eventually there will be something to show for it if you're genuinely trying.
Yeah. Well, I do want to ask you to encourage someone who is stunting their growth as a person or player because they are not open to being coached or criticized. What would you say to someone like that who is stuck in this cycle of handling criticism poorly?
I think it just, there's going to be people that criticize you and you truly think that they're wrong, and that can be whatever it may be. But in the case when someone is truly trying to help you and you're having a hard time, I think you just need to take a step back and reflect and realize, what can I do better? Maybe you have a hard time in the moment receiving that criticism, but at night when you go to bed, think to yourself, who do I want to be a week from now or a month from now or a year from now?
Takes criticism.
Yeah, you have to be criticized.
You don't grow from not being criticized.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like getting in an argument with your friends and then the outcome of it, your friendship is stronger. It's the same dynamic with criticism. You have to take it, and then you have to turn it into something positive. Even if the criticism is negative, turn it into something that can truly be a growth point for you.
Yeah, I was on a walk this morning, and I was thinking, because we were going to record today, and I was thinking, and I was like, you put so much into something, and when you handle that criticism, they're not setbacks. Nothing is a setback unless you allow it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're getting this criticism and it's constructive and it is leading you to where you need to be, then you take that. That's a step. That's not a setback, someone giving you criticism. So, but I do want to ask you, this structure of growth and self-improvement has living life on your own terms as a continuous journey. But to circle back to the start of what we talked about, after all this character building and growth, what does living life on your terms look like for you now?
I think right now it's getting up in the morning, having a breakfast that I want to eat that I think will set me on a good path for the day. I like to make lists for myself to let me know like what I have to do for the day.
I know. Remember when you saw my agenda for the first time?
Yes,
like,
I
wow,
was appalled.
You are my friend.
Yes, absolutely.
But you got to just do what you do to, live. This is my life. I got to get this stuff done. And
yeah, and people won't like certain things that you do, and that's just life. That's how it is with everyone. And if you have negative people around you that have a negative influence on your life, you truly have to just tunnel vision them. I mean, you say it all the time and you do the hand movements, but you're like, you need to keep your eyes forward and you can't look to the sides where these people are or these aspects of your life that are negative.
Distracting you rather than making you passionate.
Yeah.
So.
You truly have to focus on what it is you want to accomplish. And that's how I live my life on my own terms. I do everything I want to do, but I also complete the things that I don't want to do, like a school assignment or simple basic things like grocery shopping. You have to do those things that you don't want to do in life. It's just the basics, but you have to do those. But the things that you don't have to deal with are those people and external validation. You don't have to deal with those things, so don't.
Yeah. If it doesn't have a value or substance in your life, then oopsie.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
So how has your life changed since prioritizing yourself and setting clear boundaries? What does 2025 Jill look like?
I think I'm much happier. I think 2025 looks like a great year. I think it looks like me stepping onto the field in my final season and doing everything that I've wanted to do. Releasing myself from people and environments that were no good to me. I think I'm gonna look to get a degree. I'm gonna work this summer. I'm gonna see the people I want to see.
That's a great life.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the things that I love, and I'm gonna really try hard to stay away from those things that don't add, like you said, that don't add value to me.
Yeah. Well, I think what reflects student athletes, their senior season, their final season, is that you come to a realization where the past 3 years building up to your senior year, those are your time to grind and reflect and get better, because your senior season is all for you and it's a reflection of what you've done. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I would say my senior season was a beautiful thing. I truly did all that I could, and it was the best time of my life, and all my hard work paid off. No matter what the team outcome or whatever, that was me being happy because I did that for myself.
Yeah. When it's time for things to come to an end, like when you graduate, when it's time for things to come to an end, if you don't walk away from that situation knowing that you did everything you could and everything you wanted to do, you'll feel disappointed. So when my season comes to an end, I will know that I've put in every ounce of my body and soul into the sport.
Yeah.
And when you graduate, you, just because from talking, I know that you share the same mindset and goals. When you graduate, you know that you will have had the best experience you could have, and you're going to look to the future instead of dwelling on the past.
Thank you, Jill, for coming today for this insightful conversation.
Thank you so much, Cally, for having me. It was a blast.
Setting boundaries and letting go of external validations is a journey, but one worth taking. We both know firsthand how hard it can be to break free from external validation, but setting boundaries and focusing on self-growth is one of the best things you can do for yourself and the people around you. To everyone listening, if you found today's episode helpful, be sure to share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to tune into the next episode for more insights on personal development and leadership. We will sit down with Coach Annie Leahy, the motivator behind it all, for the final episode of this project. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time on the Game Plan for Growth.